He's known George Floyd for 10 years and did community outreach with him in Houston, where Floyd grew up. Corey, we're really grateful you're here because we want to learn more about how George Floyd was as a person. Can you start by telling us about your friend?
I can. So when I met George, we were making attempts to connect and bring together and encourage a community in Houston called Third Ward. And this is oftentimes one of the forgotten about cities. It's low income, it's a lot of poverty. And so we were going to connect with that community. We met George, and George was already doing work in the community, encouraging youth, speaking out against gun violence, being a mentor and a walking example. So George was our person of peace into the community. He was loved, he was respected, and he was from there.
Corey, seeing the final moments of George's life was difficult to witness, to put it mildly. How are you and his family dealing with all of this emotionally?
Yeah, so I can speak from my perspective. Whether I knew George or not, seeing that happen again, seeing another innocent black man murdered on video is staggering. We haven't even caught our breath from Ahmaud Arbery, and we see this with George. And the thing for me, because I personally know George, is that they see him possibly, or not even possibly, I strongly believe they see him as just another black man who they've dehumanized, because that's the only way that you can murder someone in the streets like that. But what they don't understand is that George was an advocate for change. He was a leader in his community. And so when you dehumanize a person the way that they did, you blind yourself with hate to the beautiful gift that was in George that was taken from us.
Corey, seeing all of these protests, there's actually hundreds of people gathered in New York right now, and we are seeing somewhat of a standoff between protesters and police out of New York, but we know it's not just happening in New York, it's all across the nation. Seeing all of these protests in support of your friend, are you hopeful or anxious about where this movement is going? And how do you make sure that George Floyd's name is not another casualty of a black man at the hands of police?
Yeah, so I'm hopeful through all of the protests. People are hurt, people are passionate, people are angry. And so the injustice that they see through the blatant murder of George, what I believe to be a coddling of the officer and the case, because if it was me who had done that to a person, I'm in jail for first-degree murder. It's third-degree murder. I believe it should be premeditated, because when you sit on a person's neck for that long, you have intention of harming them. So when you bring all of these issues together, understanding that this is something that continues to repeat itself, for us to take the view that the protesters are the main problem is the issue. The protesters are the effect of what a broken system is causing. And so my only hope is that we would transfer the energy of the anger and the hate into purpose and progress, so that George can be the straw that broke the camel's back, that leads us to true change in the system that's not working.
Well, Corey, I hope for that too. You mentioned the coddling of the officer. I'm assuming that you're speaking about the arresting officer that was charged today with murder and manslaughter. What does justice look like to you, not just in terms of Floyd's death and how that case moves through the legal system, but as a Black man living in America?
Yeah. So justice looks like a genuine reformation of the system. It's not my personal opinion or some angry conspiracy theory that the system as we know it was not built for a Black man to have equal opportunity or to prosper. And so until that system is radically changed, then this will continue to happen. So one thing is, I was a firefighter in Houston, Texas. I was a civil servant, and so as a civil servant, your first line of duty is to serve the community. And if you don't understand the community that you're serving, then you will never be able to truly see them and help them as they need it. So I think that the police system has to change from when they're cadets in the academy to truly understanding the community that they serve. And then on top of that, I believe law and legislation has to increase in review boards that are unbiased and not connected to the specific precincts that can review these cases, and the consequences can be swifter and stricter.